To this now, Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwarube has reiterated her department's commitment to eradicating pit latrines at schools across the country. Gwarube is currently visiting schools in Limpopo's Vhembe district to monitor progress in constructing safe latrines at schools. She says government has eradicated pit toilets at 96% of over 3,600 schools, that have been identified as part of the SAFE program. And the program was then launched by the President back in 2018 with a March 31st, 2025 deadline. Pimani Baloyi has the details from Ludane Primary School outside Louis Trichardt.
Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwarube says she's confident that they would have eradicated pit latrines at over 3,000 identified schools by the end of July this year. These are over 3,600 schools that are part of the SAFE program, which was started by the President in 2018. And the department and provincial departments were given a deadline of March 31 this year to have completed that. The minister just took members of the media through a briefing where she gave details of where each province in the country stands with eradicating these toilets. But let me bring in the minister so she can tell us more about the progress. Minister, you spoke about numbers, and it appears about 114 schools currently still have pit latrines, and you said by July this also should be completed, and you spoke about running a new audit to ensure that you find out what other schools are outstanding. Take us through your statistics. How is it looking in terms of ensuring that children use sanitation facilities that are safe for them?
Absolutely. So you will recall we had over 3,300 identified pit toilets in the SAFE initiative of 2018. And this is important to clarify because people may very well ask, but what about other pit toilets? That this backlog that we are dealing with is the backlog of the audit of 2018. And we were here in the Vhembe district this morning to announce that 96% of that backlog has been cleared. There are 141 projects that are still remaining that have been delayed and that we were not able to meet by the 31st of March. That represents 4%. However, I said that I'm comforted by the fact that 90 of those 141 are already under construction. So some of them will be completed now in April, some of them next month, but by June, 98% of the entire backlog would have been completed. Then what is remaining is some of our donor funded projects that some of our donors were not able to fulfill some of those projects. So what we've done is we've taken those projects and we've now allocated them to the provinces to say, let's complete the projects, because ultimately it is our constitutional responsibility to make sure that children are safe in their schools and that when they go to school to be safe and in a dignified way.
In Limpopo, there's a parallel deadline that is linked to the court case around Michael Komape's death. You have been into the school. They've shown you their progress. What is your impression of the work that the province has done to meet the SAFE deadline, but also the separate court cases that have set so many deadlines for them that they missed so many times?
Look, in terms of the SAFE deadline, the province has completed 390 of the 391 projects that they had. But of course, as you indicate, their backlog is still much larger than that. It is also linked to the court case, but it is also just linked to the very vast nature of the province, the very rural nature of the province. And so I've been at pains to say, while we're celebrating the milestone of 96%, and we will celebrate the milestone of 100% eradication, we will then start the process of a new audit, because we want to rake every village, every township, wherever they are. We want to find inappropriate structures in our country, and we want to remove them so that we can keep our children safe.
Briefly, Minister, you spoke about a lot of challenges. Some include your donors pulling out, but there's also contractors that you say they were incompetent and they abandoned sites. Let's talk about recouping funds. What are some of the consequence management steps that the department will be taking to ensure that it's able to, as it takes over the projects and finds other contractors, it's also able to help to hold those contractors accountable?
Absolutely. So two things around that. One, we've had issues, particularly in some provinces, with the construction mafia that have led to delays with the completion of the projects. Number two, we've also had contractors who were simply not up to the task. And so we've had to use due diligence, of course, by the law to make sure that, one, they're removed from that site and that we are able to recuperate funds as per the provisions of Treasury, but also make sure that we are appointing a new contractor to complete the work. So consequence management is going to be very important, because ultimately it has been a lot of incompetent contractors which have been the Achilles heel in our ability to be able to finish this work.
Lastly, we know there's a scourge of rapes at schools. What is government doing to rid society of rapists in an environment where minors are at?
It's important to understand, and I'm glad you asked the question, what is government doing? Because I don't think it's firstly a Department of Education issue alone. I think it has to be an entire government approach. It has to be the South African Police. It has to be the Department of Justice. It has to be the Department of Basic Education. It has to be social development. It has to be all these departments working together to make sure that we have a comprehensive strategy together. Number one. Number two, we as government cannot fix the scourge alone. It has to be a society approach, and that's why it's good to be here to see traditional leaders who are here, because I relayed the message to them that we need to be teaching boy children and we need to be inculcating a culture of respecting women, protecting children. And so from our side as a department, we want to make sure that we work with Minister Kubai in making sure that those who are employed in schools, not just teachers, because teachers are already vetted and checked and registered by SABC, but there is a loophole in my view where there are employees in the school who are not teachers who we would want to make sure that they're vetted against the sexual offenders register.
Thank you so much, Minister. That's the Minister of Basic Education, Ms. Siviwe Gwarube, who's just completed her visit at a second school in the Vhembe district outside Louis Trichardt in Limpopo. She's been taken through a few of the toilets that you see behind me, which we are told are much safer for children, and they ensure that no other children drowns in a toilet and loses their life, like Michael Komape did at a school outside Polokwane about 10 years ago.